Welcome to Fora do Meio, a Brazilian podcast of interviews that bring different topics from the perspective of the queer community in each episode. I'm Fernando Razão, and it's an honor to me to introduce this work that I've been doing for over 4 years. Today, we have something special, the first episode in a language other than Portuguese, featuring our first international guest. I hope that you, who are listening to me, enjoy this episode as much as I did. And in celebration of Diversity Month on this podcast, today we're going to talk about a subject often seen as taboo, the world of the gay adult entertainment. Despite the judgments surrounding this profession, pornography is a multi-million-dollar industry, and actors play a crucial role in this market. However, they often face prejudice and societal stigma regarding their work. But what's it really feel like to be a gay porn actor? How does society perceive this profession, and how is representation treated within this industry? In this episode, our guests will break the taboos and stereotypes, speaking openly about their work and the experience on and offset. We'll get to know the human side behind the character. Understand what motivated them to choose this profession and what it's like to work on a porn set. Additionally, we'll address important issues such as the sexual and emotional health of these professionals and the challenges they face outside of the work. Don't miss the opportunity to listen to this revealing conversation and gain a better understanding of the gay porn universe. Get ready to have your question answered, debunk prejudice, and learn more about the world of the adult entertainment, because I know that secretly you'd like to know what it's really like. We're here inaugurating a new level on Fora do Meio, our first episode on a language that isn't Portuguese, so I want to thank you and welcome those of you who are not from Brazil and we're getting to know Fora do Meio. Fora do Meio is like non-scene, just for curiosity. I want to thank the presence of our first international guest who agreed to be here with me telling about their journey. Guest, please introduce yourself to the audience of Fora do Meio.
Oh, wow. The first international. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And hi, everyone. Bom dia. I hope I said it right. I'm Rocky Vallarta, like the actor. You might know me from adult films. I don't know how much I can say so far. So, yeah, I'm 6'1", 210 pounds, brown eyes, brown hair.
I have a voice that makes panties drop.
I'm a fun guy. I'm into true crime and conspiracy theories, among other things.
And I make really cool videos. I suck at introducing myself.
And I hope we have a nice chat.
Thank you. You said right. Bom dia. Nice to have you here on Fora do Meio, and thank you for accepting to be here talking with me.
Okay, my pleasure.
It's funny for me to say Rocky with that R. In Brazil, we would say Rocky.
Rocky.
Well, I follow you on Instagram, and you also post beautiful pictures of cakes, right?
Yeah.
Do you also work with pastry making?
I'm a former baker, yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. And the pictures are beautiful. How did this come into your life?
No, actually, that's what I studied. No, I went to the baking school when I was 18 because I wanted to be a baker, like a professional baker, like a chef. And I got bored. No, actually, I discovered porn. And it's way easier, pays more, and it's less effort. So how could I say no to that? Right?
Yeah, I can imagine. But you know what? I really enjoy cooking too. I try to make some dishes and they turn on pretty good. But if I were to attempt something more elaborate, it may end up looking like a nailed it episode from Netflix.
You have to be precise. I personally love that because I love order. But yeah, because, with the same 4 ingredients, you can make a big amount of different things. Like you can make cookies and cakes and bread and like with eggs, butter, and flour and sugar. You can do things that are fluffy, things that are tight. You can make cookies. You can make like anything. So you have to really watch your proportions or you're going to end up with a different result. But yeah, I used to be a baker. I did work in restaurants. It is a demanding job. And there's a lot of dishwashing involved.
Well, as I told you, this is a Brazilian podcast, right?
Uh-huh.
When I say Brazil, what comes to your mind? Have you ever been here? Or do you think about coming here?
I haven't been to Brazil yet, but the first things that come to mind are obviously the carnival, samba, Pelé, then
The Girl from Ipanema, the song, Bossa Nova, Supermodels. Oh yeah, and the Amazon, but that's everybody's first thought. There's a lot more in Brazil. What else? I mentioned Supermodels.
After all that, it would be Oscar Niemeyer and Brasilia. I'm a bit of an architecture fan, and Oscar Niemeyer was an interesting subject. And of course, there was this blog. I don't know if it's still on. That was called Made in Brazil. That used to post photos of Brazilian hotties. So that's another thing that also comes to mind.
And fruits that I will never be able to see until I go there.
Yeah, lots of fruits.
Yeah,
I've seen some videos of people from another countries talking about the fruits here.
Yeah, you have a lot of fruits. Like literally, it's so cool.
Oh, you need to come and check it out then.
I shall. It's on my bucket list. I want to go to Rio during the carnival because apparently, from what I've heard, during the carnival, everyone's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And and there's a lot of super hot guys. So if I can bang a few straight guys over there, I'll be like, yay.
São Paulo too.
What?
São Paulo also has a great street carnival.
Okay.
One of the biggest of the country alongside Rio.
Okay.
It's worth to checking out.
So that's the capital, right?
No, Brasilia is the capital.
Brazil is the capital?
Yeah, Brasilia.
I mean, is there anything going on in Brasilia?
Kind of. Brasilia were entirely designed by Oscar Niemeyer, and it's absolutely beautiful. Oscar is an icon.
Oh, yeah, dude. I love architecture, so...
You mentioned fruits. Have you tried any fruits from here?
I don't think I can even remember the names, but I've seen some photos, and I'm like, whoa, what are those funky berries you got over there? I miss maracuja.
Maracujá?
Maracuja.
Like passion fruit?
Yeah.
Really? That's awesome.
When I was my mom got a plant of that. Dude, it grows like weed. Yeah, that's amazing, dude. We had so much that it almost seemed pretentious.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, and I was making lots of jelly with the fruits. And it's really funny that you can only grab them when they fall themselves. That's so funny.
Did you know we make drinks with passion fruit, right?
I've been made to drink it, yes.
Yeah, passion fruit caipirinha are delicious. Have you tried them?
Delicious. Yeah, dude. The seeds are a little bit of a hassle, but other than that, I could just scoop it out all day, all night. So delicious.
And there's nothing like it there, right?
Yeah, no, here in Canada, you get a lot of imported stuff, but there's fruits that you cannot just send them. They cannot take the trip, so you don't get to see them. There's a fruit that I tried when I was a kid, when I was living pretty much in the jungle. Yeah, it's called pomarosa. I don't know if you guys have it.
Pomarosa? I don't know that one.
Pomarosa? It looks like a...
Let me check it out.
What?
How did you call it?
Pomarosa. I guess look for it for Pomarosa, Mexico, or Central America or something.
Oh, I found it. Here's Scarlet Jumbo.
Oh, shit. You guys have it?
Yeah, it's a little more toward the north of Brazil.
Okay. It looks like a guava, and then it just has this one seed in the middle that is just hanging, right?
I never tried the fruit, but people make a cachaça out that's really good.
Dude, it tastes like heaven. I only ate it once because someone at my school had a tree, and a classmate was like, look at that. Dude, it tastes like honey and roses.
Now I feel like I tried the fruit too.
Right? Yeah.
Look, another reason to come to Brazil.
Oh, yeah. Just to eat fruit. I'll just go to the market then. Yeah.
Okay, Rocky. So let's get started.
Oh, speaking of Brazil, dude, I forgot. I'm really sorry. I want to apologize to the people of Brazil and to her if she listens to this because I love her. I forgot to mention Xuxa.
Xuxa?
Yes, I love Xuxa. Dude, her show was so cool. It was a Vegas show for kids.
Oh, yeah. I used to watch it every morning.
Hilari, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Hilari, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Hilari, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Este es el show de Xuxa. Lo saluda con amor. Es la hora.
You know the Spanish version.
I know the Spanish version. Es la hora de jugar. Brinco, brinco, palma, palma. Yeah. Sorry, I apologize. I guess I hope that because like the first things that I'm just hungry and like fruits came first.
I'm impressed by how famous he was outside of Brazil. Pretty cool.
Yeah, shusha. Okay, so you were saying.
I was about to make on the first question.
Let's get started.
Well, Rocky, first things first. Are you a gay man, right?
Yes.
So I'd like to know what it was like for you to realize you were a gay man and how coming out was for you. You actually had two coming outs, right? One about your sexuality and one about your profession. Let's talk about it separately. How was the process for you?
Okay. Just keep like a notepad to remind me what we were talking about. Okay, so when did I realize that I was gay? Here's the thing. I was raised Catholic and conservative, so like I was told to not even allow myself to consider those thoughts. So it never really rang on me that like sometimes like I had like a crush on a classmate, but like according to us, we were just friends. But like I felt a little extra, particularly over certain guys. It didn't dawn on me until I was older that I was gay for them. But like at the same time, like I wouldn't act on any, like I wouldn't even dare to like try gay stuff or think it or whatever. Then as a teenager, because the internet had just come out, I was watching porn. And, you know, like first it was just cool to see people naked. Then gladly, because like back in the day, they did have hot guys fucking chicks. Like I started looking at the guys more, and then like started looking for like male threesomes, bisexual male threesome. And then when I moved out of my parents to go to school, I started watching actual gay porn on my personal computer because I no longer had to delete all the fucking history.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Couldn't leave any traces.
Yeah, and the thing is that like I had to delete just the porn sites because if I just deleted everything in one go, I was questioned more. So
the sad story of those who lived in the 2000s and only had one computer at home.
It was a tedious process. And then around the time that I was 18, when I started watching like gay porn, I started opening up to the idea like maybe I could be gay, but I still hadn't done anything. Okay, then cut to I went to France to study pastry. Then at some point, because I was a great student, they sent me along with the other selected people to European, I don't know how would you say, hotellery, you know, service industry, whatever. Contest for all the schools in the association in the European Union, and Slovenia had just joined, so it was there. And I happened to drink back in the day because I was 18. By then I was 19. It was actually my second year being a baker, so I had to prove myself. Anyway, so we went to the thing, and we had spare days from time to time, so we went to the down bars, and eventually there was just one bar closing, like the last one open. And I ended up hanging out with a group of Swedish guys, and they drank, man. Anyway, we go back to our hotel all drunk and like hyped up and whatever. And two guys are kissing each other. And I was like, yo, guys, can I join? And then, here's how it happened. It was actually really sexy because here's the thing. They kicked us out of the bar. And there's like 5 Swedish guys, like tall and blonde and blue-eyed. And we were in line to pee, and I was gonna pass, and then this like super sexy guy with like a buzz cut, blue eyes, has like a beer in his hand, and he's like, "Hey, hold my beer," and he just kisses me. Oh, and I was like, "Oh yeah, wow,
yeah,
then
right."
All the way back to the hotel, we were all making out, and at some point, we found like a little mini mall, and we found like a little alley, and I was kissing this guy, and I just went for his dick. Like I didn't even ask.
Oh wow, you were excited.
Yeah. No, I mean like we were grabbing each other and stuff, but like he whipped it out, and I was like, "Whoa, give me that!" And I was 19 back then. Then we fooled around a little bit more by the parking in front of the hotel. I know. Yeah, I was a fun teenager.
Adolescence.
Well, when you're 19, yeah. And that was that. When I was still like 18, I did go to a gay bar once before moving to France, and I made out with a guy, but that was it. So like I haven't even had sex by then. I mean, oral isn't sex. Sorry. It's like a handshake. It's like, yeah, cool. Yeah, you want one? Okay, yeah, I'll help you.
Yeah, things that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll suck my friends too if they need it. Not all my friends, but like some, yeah.
It's much easier to discover things with people who are close to us, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we were talking about when I realized that I was gay. So like, I think around that time I sort of was like, okay, yeah, here's my thing. Then I finished school and I couldn't stay in France, so I went back to my city and I started going out to gay bars and, like trying to figure shit out. And I didn't even know what a douche was, so I hadn't even had anal or anything. I didn't have anal until I was like 22 or 23. I know, I'm such a prude. But I didn't come out until I was 30.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And since my family is religious, we don't really get along. So that was interesting.
I can imagine how it was. My family was religious too.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, it might ease your mind. No, it eases your mind because you don't have to worry about the reality of things. But it does fuck some people up. And, the Catholics have a lot of really interesting arguments now to be like, yeah, it's cool to be gay. Just like, don't fuck dudes. This is the burden that God gave you. Now sacrifice your whole life. And I was like, fuck that shit. I'm going to go fuck. I'm going to Canon. I'm going to become a porn actor. I mean, I used to joke about that, but I guess I said so much that I made it happen. Because I tried, I applied when I was young, but the students wouldn't fly you. And, with foreigners back then, there was a lot of paperwork involved. So that never clicked and I gave up. And I didn't consider actually doing porn until I had to move to my own apartment after a bad breakup. And I realized that I needed to make more money. So I found a site. Okay, so when people ask, you can cut this into a clip because this is how you can get into porn. On websites, if you scroll all the way down to the website information, there's a section usually that's model for us or become a model or whatever. You can click on it, send your photos, your measures, and then if they like you, they call you back. And if they don't, they don't.
Just like that.
Yep. So I send my photos to a local site. And I actually, when I discovered sex, I stopped watching porn because it was more fun to fuck people, I guess. No, because the thing is that as soon as I discovered how easy sex was, I just wanted to have a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, because I grew up being told no, don't have sex, you're gonna die.
Oh yeah, let me ask you a question that came to my mind just now. You mentioned that it took you a while to actually having sexual experience with other guys, but you started watching porn.
I watch porn movies.
Do you think consuming porn put pressure on you to act a certain way during the sex in the beginning? Like, following a script, almost like in a movie where if you're a top, you have to do this and then that. Or if you're a bottom, you have to suck first, then focus on the nipples and so on?
No, not at all. No. Every person was a new, different machine every new person is a different setup. So you have to go all over the place and see what makes them. I mean, when it comes to sex in my personal life, I'm more of a pleaser than a taker. So it turns me on to see people having a great time. I also love getting my dick sucked. Yeah, because I think I suck so much dick that I am owed a fair amount of blowjobs in return for my services. But let me not get lost. So porn. So I applied, I sent my photos, and they emailed me. And they're like, hey, can you meet us for an interview? And I go to the place and it looks like a normal office. And the guy that interviewed me, I love him. He explained to me, he's like, listen, man, this is a job. There's a lot of money to be made if you take care of yourself and you're disciplined and you show up on time and you do the job. We don't want people that see this as a temporary thing. We want people that want to work regularly. And no drugs, no alcohol on set. And what else did he say? And he's like, after that, it depends of what you're packing. And I show him, yeah, And I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, show me your dick. And I'm like, and
we need to remember this is a job, right? And it's not like something would come up to you and in the middle of the street and say, hey, strip right now. It's a job and there are steps involved to get it.
Yeah. Like in a different context, it sounds a little weird, but it's like, oh yeah, sure, man. Like
it's interesting for people to know that's an interview with a plus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I can develop on that later, but that's how I got into porn. And the thing is that there is so much porn that I thought nobody was going to see it. So I didn't even know the guy that I was shooting with, which was William Seed. My very first scene was Slip This On for men.com. Shout out with William Seed. It's a foot fetish scene. So I've been, they love me in the foot fetish community.
Let me take this opportunity to ask you a question. Did you had a crush on any porn actor when you were a teenager?
Yes.
I think every teenager has had a little crush in an actor because of their performance, like, oh my God, that guy. I remember mine was Vincent Rockland. Back then, I used to think perfection exists. Nowadays, I'm more like, maybe not. How it was for you?
Andy Starr and Damien Cross, period. Beautiful man. Look them up if you want, because that's my kind of guy. I like white guys with hazel eyes and dark hair. That's like, I fuck anything with a heartbeat. But if I were to choose, I'd be like, hey, those two, they're super handsome. They are so fucking handsome. Yeah, and Damien Cross, I saw him on a video, and I think I told you the last time, but like, it was him talking about how his boyfriend was away. He was super horny, and I could never find that video again. But it was so sexy. He looked so good on that video. So I had a little crush on that one. But my crushes were usually, I had a big crush on the Smallville guy. What's his name?
Oh, yeah. Tom something.
Tom Welling.
That's it. An entire generation are gay because of this guy.
I know, right? Fuck, that guy was... he's still hot. He got a little thicker, but he's still a really sexy, handsome man.
Yeah, better every year.
Oh, yeah. No, I used to watch that show and I hated Lana so much because she was always breaking his heart. And I was like, oh, dude, I would take care of you so much better. Poor Clark.
Right?
Yeah. I do have a bit of a type, but as you can see on my videos, I fuck everything. And I don't have stuff for my private life, but it is really assorted.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I'm accepted and turned it into energy and let it flow to the universe. I don't know. I'm actually like, I have a bit of body dysmorphia and I'm extremely self-conscious, but like I handle myself. I try to pay no mind to the thing, but whether it's a positive comment or a negative comment, I try to not take it personally. Even if it's a compliment, like it is like, oh yeah, I have a crush on you. I wish you were my dad. And I'm like, you want to talk about that? Because you should be fucking your dad. But,
this is kind of weird.
Yeah. So, that's how I see it. Like, because I do a lot of incest porn and people know me from that on top of the foot fetish. So I forgot what I was saying.
About compliance.
But yeah, like I don't let it weigh on me. I know that, I'm providing a service and, if you like me a lot, subscribe to my page. You can find that at Rocky Vallarta on every... Sorry, I have to do my plug.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah. If you like it, just come say hi and support my art. But I try not to think about it too much because I don't want to get to my head.
But it must be nice for you to somehow inspire someone in the other side of...
Oh, yeah. I'm happy people jerk off to my videos. That's my goal. And I don't like that my content is pirated, but that means that people want people to see it because it is good. So, and porn, there's all sorts of porn. So... there's something for everyone. I don't know.
Yes. It's important to people to remember that you are a real person and not just what the people see you in the videos. You created Rocky Vallarta.
Well, it's my stage name, but the way I decide to present myself on as an entertainer, that's the one I choose. Also, is the one I chose, not the one that was given to me by a bunch of prudes. So just like Mystique on X-Men, I don't answer to my slave name. So like Rocky Vallarta, because this is kind of weird when my friends from before I did porn, they always make the difference like, oh, how are you? As opposed to my character, allegedly. And no, this is actually me being me. I have to censor myself for the internet because of cancel culture.
Hates everybody, right?
Yeah. No, in person, I'm even worse. So I just choose to be myself.
And it's important for you to have a private personal life beyond the cameras.
Oh, yeah,
I imagine that Rocky does and say things in front of the camera that may not necessarily represent your true opinions.
My personal views? Yeah. I am completely against incest unless it's consensual.
Is it difficult to keep yourself separate from the characters sometimes?
No, because for real, I am not playing a character. I'm actually like this. So it's just like my nickname online. And I think you asked me the last time I choose my porn name. You want to know what it is?
Can I ask you this?
So it's my dog's name and the street that I used to live on, which was Avenue Vallarta. So my dog was Rocky. The street was Vallarta. So came out Rocky Vallarta and it sounded kind of cool.
Vallarta.
Rocky Vallarta.
Oh my gosh, I said your name wrong in this whole time.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can pronounce it however you want. Vallarta. I don't know how you pronounce double L in Portuguese, or I don't know. I really don't know.
It's like a regular L.
Oh, okay.
We don't have double L in Portuguese like in Spanish, for example.
Oh, okay.
It's fun to have this phonic difference, but it can also be challenging for us to pronounce certain R sounds when we're learning English, which more of a throaty R.
That's how you pronounce your R's?
Yeah, it's an R kind of in the mid of the mouth. Here it will sound like hockey.
Hockey.
I'm learning German now, and there are some R sounds that are really tricky to make, like in pot, It's a challenge for us Brazilians.
Yeah, but German's kind of sexy.
Right?
Yeah, I only know how to say two things. Bend over and I am your master.
Good. Continuing here, you're raising a very interesting point. You are a porn star.
No, I'm a porn star. No, I'm actually a porn actor. I'm actually an actor. I just happen to do a lot of porn. You can find me on IMDb.
I'll have to disagree with you there. Madonna once said that we all are stars.
Did she? Wow. I wouldn't expect such a nice thing from her. Yeah.
Yeah, she did in the girly show, if I'm not mistaken.
She doesn't usually say like nice things, but good. She's hilarious. I love her.
As a good Leo person.
Yeah, I mean, we're all made of stars. That's for sure. But I don't see myself as a star, but I do look like one. It's good.
I discovered in therapy that we all are stars in other people's lives. So in some way, we help others to showing them the way. I can't explain it like a therapist would, but I really like that kind of thinking.
Well, I mean, like, I'm happy to be able to help people release energy. And it also, like, now I exist in the memories of people, which is great. And if we're able to keep the information, maybe in the future, someone will be like, oh, look at that. That guy used to fuck on camera for money. Or people used to sell stuff online, videos online. And it was usually them naked or having sex.
Well, you are a porn actor.
Yes, actor. I want to emphasize the acting part.
Yeah, as an artist who works with sex, but it's not a sexual commodity, I can imagine that people who work with sex sometimes face issues with others who don't respect certain boundaries.
Yeah.
People feel entitled to approach you and grab you, ask to see your dick or other bizarre things. How do you deal with this kind of situation? Did you experience it, or how do you set these boundaries?
Oh, I don't go out anymore.
No?
No. I stopped drinking a while ago, so I used to go to bars to pick up guys. But the more work I did, the more, like, if I went to, like, a gay bar, like, people would, like, point at me and giggle or whatever, so I don't like that. I'm super shy. I'm actually super shy, which is weird to say when you work having sex in front of a camera.
Well, I have a podcast, and if you meet me in the street, you'd find out that I'm so too shy.
Yeah.
If you meet me on the street and start talking to me about the podcast, I turn red and went to run away.
And do you do like solo podcasts or do you always have conversations with people?
Always me and someone else.
Oh, yeah, because when I try to do content alone, I am so flat. But when I have someone to talk to, it's actually like more fluid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm a lot more entertaining. Or at least I try. I hope you guys are enjoying this. So what was the question?
How do you deal with people who have no boundaries?
I deal with people being grabby. Usually I grab their hand and put it away, or
Get out of my way.
yeah, or if they're hot, I'll be like, yo, what's up? And grab them back. But those days are in the past. Yeah, no, it's been a while. Like I haven't, when I was younger, like I would suck guys in the showers at the gym or cruise on the street and whatnot. And now I still have sex in my personal life, but people do judge porn actors a little harshly. They think we have a lot of STIs or that all porn actors are escorts, which is a thing that usually guys are respectful when you tell them that you don't. But when people instantly assume that you're an escort, it does annoy me a little bit because even though sex work implies having sex for work, it doesn't mean that you all do the same thing. Like some people just do videos, some people do just cam, some people escort and do porn. There's, what else is there? Strippers are sex workers also, and they don't necessarily have sex with anybody. They're just working naked.
Yeah, it's important for people to remember that there's a separation, right? What you do in front of a camera is a job, not necessarily what you enjoy in your personal life.
So just because someone does one thing doesn't mean that they do all the other things. But I also try to be polite and say thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it, but no.
Important to remember this.
Yeah. And like a completely different thing.
We have a very famous person here in Brazil called Bruna Surfichinha. She was a prostitute who started writing a blog and became super famous here in Brazil. Mm-hmm. She wrote 3 books about her life, and to this day, people only seek her out to talk about the topic. She talks about her experience doing porn and how it's completely different from real sex. You can't have sex for 40 minutes straightly like it appears in a movie. For a movie, it's a performance. It doesn't exactly represent that happens in reality. There's a director telling you do this and now do that, then say that, something like this.
Yeah.
You need to remember that sex in a movie is different from what happens in real life.
Well, I mean, porn is simulated or real sex acts, whatever that can mean to you.
Mm-hmm.
I was too short.
A little bit.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's all porn is. It could be a lot of things. But it is not. Sometimes there are videos where people are actually having real sex. Because you get along well with your partner and things are great. So sometimes some of the scenes that you see are actual people having sex. Yes, for work, but they're actually enjoying it. Those are usually the most memorable ones. Yeah, because like when you see more real stuff, it sort of like looks better. Not all the time. Sometimes what feels great in your personal life, which is like being close together and like just, head to head or whatever. It doesn't look that entertaining on camera, so you have to do all those crazy things. Or I don't know, you're eating ass, and obviously if you want to make your partner feel good, you're deep in the crack. You're not just like, just like licking it with the little tip of your tongue and like with your face away. So already that, what else? Depending on how things are, sometimes when you pull someone's pants down, the dick isn't always hard. People don't always come. People don't always have to come. What else? Also, like, it would be okay if some guys kissed during the scenes. That would be super cool. Yeah, because, if you're having sex without a kiss, it's kind of like, I know it's a kink, but, it lacks a bit of connection. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, it is a job and it is not real. And sometimes you do a lot of things for the camera because it looks good or it looks cool or because you have to show it like that. Or sometimes just because you want to do something that looks so weird that people are going to be like, wait, what's that? And go watch the video. So, because there are some positions on porn that I would never do to people. Yeah, they're not even comfortable. Like,
it's not because it works for a camera that it will work in real life, especially the first time when you should be discovering what you like or didn't.
No. Yeah, and the first sexual experiences are really how would I say it? It marks something. So
Yeah.
you can end up with some fucked up habits after if your first time is a little wild. Okay, so you were saying, yeah, like I said, don't educate yourself with porn. Get yourself a sexuality book or something like that and start yourself on the things that can be done. Here's the thing. I mean, since I was able to save myself till like 21, I don't think underage people should be having sex. I'm sorry. I also don't think they should be watching porn because they might end up like me.
And that is bad?
I mean, I'm having a great time, but I don't think parents would be very comfortable with the whole concept. So, you cannot look at your baby and be like, he's going to be fucking people on camera. But, I mean, I don't have any shame about porn. I try not to mention it whenever I hang out with normies because it tends to monopolize the conversation because people are so curious about it and they have so many misconceptions. They think that it's like prostitution and drug addiction and like human trafficking and whatnot. And it's actually a really neat thing.
It's a topic surrounded by taboos, right?
For some people, yeah. For the very religious ones, yes. And I mean, in general, people are actually interested on it, but they want to know the behind the scenes, which is very disappointing. And they also get exposed to interesting concepts like straight guys that have sex with men for money. Yeah, my favorite kind of man, gay for pay. Shout out to all my boys. Marcus, I love you.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it later, as it's a great point. I remember an argument that happened on the internet, but we'll get that soon. Let me ask you a question about behind the scenes. Have you ever turned down a role in a movie, something that you look and said, this isn't Rocky Vallarta?
No, it hasn't happened yet. I mean, there's a couple of people that I wouldn't shoot with for personal reasons. My producer knows that. So I'm not forced to shoot with someone if I don't want to. And if you're a porn actress or whatever, or a hooker, you don't have to.
And is there someone you would like to film with but haven't had the chance yet?
Fuck. This is gonna sound funny because I forgot his name for a second. I have to look him up. His name is Matthew Camp. He's so cute. I met him once. Such a sweetheart. But he was there. I was cock-blocked by someone when I met him, so get the chance to hang out with him. But yeah, he's so cute. I know. I find girl over porn actors like hardcore.
Well, at the end of this recording, you can send a message to Matthew like, hello.
You can find me on Twitter, OnlyFans, Rafa Club, Just for Fans, SoundCloud, and Instagram. And I think I said them all.
All right. Speaking of movies, how is the process of making a porn movie? We only have contact with the final product, but what is it like until you get there? Do you receive a script?
Sometimes.
Did you like to say how it's going to work? How is it?
It can go either way, depending on the day, the mood, the studio, the director. Sometimes they just put two actors that get along well, or that work well together, or that sell well together. And they're like, yeah, just fuck here. And there's not a lot of lines, there's not a lot of story, but there's sex. And it turns out great because, there's no script, there's less shit to do. So usually a shoot, what happens in an ideal world, or I don't know, depending on how organized the studio is, you can have a scene booked months in advance. You can have a shooting booked way in advance because you live in a different city, you're going to have a trip and whatever. You will get the script before the shooting so you can read it. Sometimes you get the script on the day of the shooting and you bump into interesting surprises. Or sometimes they go all out and they make like a whole series and they have all the scripts ready forever ago and they take you somewhere and you shoot. And boom, you have content for the page for the whole year. Some other places you swing it and they do it day by day. If it doesn't work that day or if whatever happens, you shoot another day. There's a certain amount of planning involved. But in general, if people are going to look at the background, you're not doing your work well. So the props and stuff, sometimes they go all out, sometimes they don't. Depends on the studio. Sometimes they will give you clothes. Other days they'll be like, hey, just wear whatever you want.
They say who's gonna be the top and the bottom, or it is up to you guys?
Yeah. That's talked about before. Even agreeing to the scene. Like, hey, you want to get fucked? Yeah. You want to get fucked by this guy? So, yeah. And once again, people, you can say no.
Yeah, I'm really curious about how things work too. It's funny, when we see the final result, it all seems so natural, like it just happened. I really enjoy understanding the behind the scenes aspect. I'm the kind of person who would buy DVDs just to watch the behind the scenes footage of the films I saw in the theaters.
Oh, well, okay. Let me go more in depth. Okay. So, you go on set, whatever the set can be. Sometimes it's the forest, sometimes it's a garage, sometimes it's a basement somewhere. You go there, you sign your paperwork, waivers and consent forms, contract and whatnot. Then some studios ask you to make a video at the beginning of the scene asking if you know what you're doing, if you agree to do it, if there's things that you don't want to do or like to do or will not do. What else? That. And then if you have to get dressed, you get dressed. Then photos, the safe for work ones, just dress. Okay, so you do the shooting. If there's a script or if there's like lines for a situation, you will film that part of the film, of the scene. Then you can start the sex. You can either decide what positions you're going to do during the shooting, depending on the setting, and take the photos beforehand and then reenact it. Or you can wing it and then stop to take photos during the sex. That depends on the director or the actors. Sometimes it's easier to take the photos because, you're going to look a lot more glamorous if you do things when you're fresh. When you've been having sex or like shooting and then take photos before you're finally having sex, things go out of place. Another interesting thing that I wanted to mention is that some guys, how there's gay for pay. How do they fake an erection? There's a medication that people that you can get from your urologist that you inject into your dick and it makes it hard. You guys do your research. I'm not gonna promote it, but that's how actors get hard. So, I'm sorry to...
Oh, really? I think I heard something about it.
Yeah, so if a guy needs to inject their dick, they will go and do that and then finish. But some guys cannot come when they inject themselves. So sometimes they will shoot the cum shot at the beginning and then do the sex and just put it together at the end. So I don't know if any of you has noticed, but sometimes when guys start fucking, they look all sweaty and whatever, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna come, and then like the bottom is like super fresh.
Yeah, the magic of editing.
Yeah, but I mean, what's it called? Consistency or all that stuff in porn. It's not like a priority.
Continuity.
Yeah, continuity, that's a word. Yeah, continuity in porn is not super important.
It's not the point.
So then and if you're having like regular sex, at the end you come and you take photos of that, you wash yourself and bye. Sometimes when people cannot come, they will fake it. Yeah. There are several ways to fake it.
I read about it in Bruna Surficina's book.
Yep.
I was like, what? How they do that? It looks so real.
I'm not sure if I should explain this to people because I don't want people to...
Yeah, let's keep some secrets.
Yeah, let's keep some secrets of the trade. I already gave away too much with medication.
I don't want to be hated by porn industry.
Yeah. No, but that's because we have it now. Back in the day, they would just give you Viagra, and a shooting could last 3 days because it's two guys that are actually straight, but they have sex for the camera because they're famous, and they would go and jerk off and then go shoot a little. If they go limp, they go and like get themselves hard again. It used to be harder. It also used to be better paid because there were a lot less people doing it.
I see, but it's interesting to know that. I wonder if you receive a script or something.
Yeah, actually we do receive a script. We sort of talk about it before saying yes or no, and we talk about who's going to be the partner on the scene or the partners. So, you always have the chance to say no or yes, but like nothing is forced on you. And depending on the website or whatever, you will have a really explicit, very detailed script, or you will have a really short, like sometimes just 1 page, and they give you some creative freedom. Depends on the day, the scene, the studio. all options are available. Some scripts are like 12 pages long, even though like it's just sex. And some can be as short as a paragraph.
It's interesting to know that you have the freedom to choose what productions you want to be a part of, right? Has there ever been a time when you didn't want to do a certain film or scene after reading the script, or when the director proposed something and you were like, nah, I'm good with that?
Has there been a scene that I've turned down? The only scene that I turned down was because it was bisexual sex. All the other ones, I always had the chance to say no prior. And, once you're shooting, you better be professional and just finish the work. But in general, like, they're really understanding, like, if something is not going well, or if somebody's not feeling great, or if we're missing something, we will just stop right there, postpone the shoot, and continue shooting another day. Sometimes shoots can take 3 days. Sometimes they take 4 hours. It depends, it's actually really flexible. You get paid by results, though. So, like, if you take 3 days to shoot it, you're still going to get paid the same rate than if you take 4 hours. So you better be efficient when you're working.
And what's your favorite porn movie? One that you are part of?
Oh, no, I cannot pick one, but I mean, like, maybe I'm really grateful for Slip This On, because people really thought I loved it. But I think the scene that I did Into the Woods for Falcon, where I'm a farmer and we fuck outdoors, or Worship, shout out to Men at Play. They're not listening, but I gotta give them credit. It's the scene where I'm a top on Men at Play. I think it's the only one where I'm a top, where I fucked Drew Dixon. And same on that one, there was no script. It was all about the clothes.
Well, Rocky, as you mentioned earlier, the sex we see in the video is a sexual performance, not exactly real sex.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's a combination, a script, and it's rarely just a case of turning on the camera or recording ourselves. Except, of course, in the case of amateur videos. But even then, I think the result is still a performance, since you want to appear on camera as something that might not necessarily reflect reality. So, as a porn actor, what would you say to someone who's listening and looking in these movies a guide on what to do when they're about to have their first time with a girl or a boy?
Oh, wow. That's a complex question. Okay, let's go one thing at a time. Porn is either real or simulated sex acts. Now, when it comes to the sex acts that happen on the video, what looks good on camera is not necessarily what feels good in real life. So, short answer would be yes, it is fake, between air quotes, but there is real sex happening. It's just not the way that normal people, regular people would have sex. Because, like, if you're eating ass, you usually have your face dipped right in the middle of the crack, and like nobody can see your face or your tongue or what's going on. But, when someone's eating ass on a porn movie, then like the face is far enough and like you're only licking a little bit, because otherwise like you wouldn't see anything on camera and people want to see what's going on. So there's that. And then there's also, the porn that is there to satisfy a particular niche. Like I'm a lot on incest porn, and like I personally find it odd, but I love working on it because I love money and I get paid. But yeah, like sometimes I read some scripts and I'm like, who the fuck wrote this? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Oh, and that's just gay porn. Like, when it comes to straight porn, wow. Like, I think I mentioned it before, but I should mention it again. Friendly reminder, if you're under 18, you shouldn't be watching porn movies. So if you want to get educated on how sex happens, I highly recommend you to read either a biology book or a sexology book, a sex education book. And please, 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 please don't go looking for porn to educate yourself on how sex happens, because it's going to give you a misguided idea of how things go, because it's just either not realistic or it is completely detached from reality. Like, I've seen some straight porn and like the chicks are just heavily mistreated. I don't know who likes to get fucked like that, but guys, watch it. Another thing that I've noticed a lot on straight porn is that the guys are completely uneventful. They're not particularly handsome or particularly hung or whatever, and the chicks are always super hot. That is probably because 90% of the population is straight, and that's the market that they tend to. And I mean men, because women don't usually buy porn. So, when it was explained to me when I asked, the reason why that happens is because as a producer of straight porn, you don't want the viewer to be intimidated by the people on the videos. You want them to be able to see themselves in the situation. So the guys are, pretty average looking, and the chicks are always hot, huge tits, always attractive, always eager, and that's that. And the situations that they put them in, like I've seen some porn about, zombie porn, or pterodactyl porn, or serial killer porn, or rape fantasy porn, shit like that. And I suppose it's there to fulfill some people's fantasy.
Oh yeah, probably.
Oh yeah, and forgot to mention, because if you're looking for places to educate yourself about sex, please get a book or something like that. Don't go looking for information on porn, and don't go looking for advice from your teenage friends, because they're probably just as clueless as you are. And people like to people lie a lot about their sexual experience. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with not having sex. I personally don't think that people that are under 18 should be having sex, because it is a great responsibility with great consequences. And your first sexual experience might influence all of your experiences in the future, or your fetishes, or whatever. I think porn provides an outlet for certain situations to be either relieved or healed, or for people to realize that maybe something that turns you on is actually not weird. But I highly recommend people to wait till they're old enough to have their first sexual experience, because you're probably going to be more developed mentally and more at ease, or let's say financially stable if something comes up like a pregnancy. I know that abortion is not legal in a lot of countries, and some people, even if it's legal, might not agree with it. So pregnancies are a risk. Venereal diseases are a risk, but most of them can be treated or prevented. So that is actually the thing that people are scared about the most. And it has a horrible reputation, but it's actually the least of your problems. What else was I going to say? But yeah, honestly, don't look for porn to educate yourself on sex, because it's really not the place. It is a place to entertain yourself. It's a place to jerk off or to see funny shit or whatever. But it's mostly not educational, so please don't. And please, teens, stop watching sites that are for people over 18.
Yes, exactly. Well, Rocky, you are an actor.
I am an actor, yes.
Have you done any actor jobs other than porn movies?
Yeah, I've done some advertisement, but I prefer not to talk about it too much, because there's what's it called? A morality clause. And also, I signed that one with my personal, I filmed that one with my personal name, so it doesn't really count. But I was a body double for...
We cannot talk about it if you would rather.
Oh, no, that one I can talk about. Yeah, I've been an extra on a lot of, a lot of movies and a couple TV shows. What else? I was a body double on an arty Quebecois film.
And you worked as a model too, right?
Oh, I tried. But eventually, most of the modeling that I've done has been because photographers asked me to do it. I did a couple of runways when I was young, but it was kind of trashy, so I don't even want to brag about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I'm always open to do artistic collaborations with people, because that's actually what I'm into. I like being in art and participating in art and creating art. So when I talk to a photographer, I'm like, hey, if you need a model, I'm down. You don't have to pay me. I just want things to look good. And that's how I gather my modeling stuff. And eventually, every now and then, they will be like, oh, I got a big gig for you. I just did an underwear shoot with my buddy Marcus. I haven't even seen the photos. But there's places where you can go and apply. Most of the jobs that I've had have been because I went and asked for them. So if you want to become a model, you just go to a model agency and see if they want to take you. And if you want to become an actor, it's a little bit more complicated, because there's a union mafia.
Yeah, it's not so simple.
Yeah, I'm saving money for it. No, because here's the thing, all the stuff that you see on TV but your streaming sites, professional, big movies, bigger budget, all of them are produced, filmed and done with people that are part of the union, whether it's the movie making or the lighting, whatever. And then there's like the acting ones. You cannot go to auditions or be cast on something if like you cannot even have access to the casting information or the casting calls or whatever because you're not part of the union. So to be in the union, you have to pay a fee, and then you're able to go and do castings, and then maybe you might get chosen. There's also, a lot of pilots get filmed, and they might be paid for the filming, but it is never approved. So there might be a lot of filming happening, but it's stuff that is never seen. And if you're not in the union, you cannot participate in those projects. But if you want to join the union, you have to be invited by someone from the union, but they won't introduce you to someone from the union. So it's kind of tricky to get in. But I slipped through the cracks and I ended up on IMDb. Shout out to Rodrigue Jean for his movie L'Acrobat. Because what he wanted to do with the movie, because I didn't finish telling you earlier, he wanted to have real sex on his movie, but it was a movie that was going to go on regular theaters. So it's not porn, it's just real sex. Real sex happening on the movie. But the movie is not porn, it's just real life.
Yeah, sex is a part of life after all, right?
Yeah. I wish people talked about it more a little bit more so it would be more chill. Guys, jerk off more often. Just Rocky's advice. It calms you down a lot.
Isn't it?
So, yeah, because, when your hormones are raging and you don't even know, you should figure out. You should probably rub one out and you'll be cool. Okay, so on the movie, the proper actors, they don't want to show their privates on the movie. So they hire a bunch of porn actors that look like the actors. And it turns out that I look a lot like Mika. So you get to see me peeing on someone. Then I get my pubes shaved. Somebody jerks me off. Oh, and also I get fucked. So I haven't seen the movie.
I got it.
I am credited as Rocky Vallarta on that movie. So I've been in a proper film.
Yes. And as a model, I remember in a conversation you mentioned that you didn't have much success because of your body. Is that right?
Yeah, because when I applied, and actually I was a lot smaller back then, they kept telling me that I was too large.
Too large. I can understand it.
Too large. Yeah, because I would be like a size 40L, and like most of the models are 36. They might be as tall as me, but at the time that I was trying, they were super thin. I don't know how it's going now, but I don't think it's improved. Yeah, no, I love Strike of Fashion. It's been so bad.
Yeah, the fashion industry can be quite controversial, right? We heard a lot of behind-the-scenes stories. That's that scene in The Devil Wears Prada where Miranda calls Andrea fat, even though she has a normal body. Where do you think that pressure comes from, since you've kind of gone through the path and now in the porn industry where appearance is also a big deal?
Okay, so that was a bit of a complicated question, but I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities. So when I applied or sent my photos to modeling agencies to become a model, this was around 2000, after 2005 and before 2011. And around this time, the male models had somehow become super thin, extremely thin. And obviously because it's men, nobody better than I. But when it's done to women, everybody's like, oh my God. But since it happened to men, nobody cared. The real explanation when it comes to fashion as to why they pick really skinny people is because it is extremely easy to make a pattern of clothes for somebody that has no shape, no lumps, if someone is just like a stick, it's going to be really easy to make a pattern for them. And everything goes on a really skinny person. And on a, let's say on an athletic person, you will have to do some adjustments. You will have to cut the shirt or whatever a certain way so that it fits the body. So mass produce is not the best choice unless you have a particular type of customer or, to save money on materials or whatever. But that's when it comes to fashion. Because I don't know if I mentioned it, but I used to be a tailor. So I have a little bit of a better understanding on why the models are chosen a particular way. Now, another thing that happens in fashion mostly is that they will pick people that have a really particular look. Not necessarily pretty, not necessarily ugly, but like just interesting. And more often than not, the reason why they pick certain people is because they look good on camera. If you see them in real life, like they're funky looking. So, it's a thing that happens. And another thing that happens in fashion, I mean, the way it was in the 90s and I guess in the 80s is that they would pick like really conventionally good looking people, and the men were extremely athletic, extremely muscular, and that looked good and all, and it sold well, but the truth is that most people don't look like that. And also people that are like really muscular are extremely hard to dress. So that's when it comes to fashion. Now when it comes to porn, I personally haven't, yes, some guys that are conventionally good looking are going to be picked over others, and if they have a really big dick, they might be picked over others. But I've seen guys that are extremely ugly that are just picked because their dick is huge. And also, at least in my experience, when it comes to porn, there is room for everybody because everyone has different fetishes. So like some people like fat chicks or fat guys. Some people like hairy people. Some people like skinny people. Some people like white people. Some people like Asian people. So I personally don't think that there is a particular type in porn. I feel that there's a place for everyone. There's a lot of tokenizing and fetishization, I think that's the way you say it, of certain traits or certain origins. I find that reductive and a little bit disrespectful towards the people. Like there's sites that are like nothing but black guys or nothing but Latino, whatever that means.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm surprised by the fact that you're tailored to. You do so many things. That's really cool. I find it to be a very interesting field. And nowadays, we're just following what the industry tells us to wear. And we end up being confined to these predefined boxes, right?
Oh, yeah. I think we should use as much natural fibers as possible instead of synthetic. And I think that manufacturing of clothes should be a thing that every country does for themselves. Actually, manufacturing of whatever. I personally believe that most countries should be able to be self-sufficient. With trade involved, but I don't know why Mexico has to buy their corn from the United States. Why Africa plants stuff that they don't eat. Why fruits are imported. Why, I don't know, whatever, all that stuff. But I don't want to get into the World Economic Forum conspiracies because it's too much to untangle. But
yes, globalization has definitely changed the way we produce our own things.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense when it comes to whatever item, because most items are produced in China. If you take a look, for things to be either made over there and then sent here, or we send them some stuff, then they make stuff, then they send it back. And when just because it costs less when you used to do it locally, and now shout out to Emperor Xi Jinping. Now they have all the machinery and all the information, and all the countries that don't make stuff anymore, which is pretty much all of them, can get fucked in the ass if China one day is like, bye. And then you're going to have a shortage of everything because you no longer make anything. And you're even going to have a shortage of people that know how to handle machinery because it just hasn't been done anymore. Or, I don't know, information gets lost. Things get complicated.
Yeah, capitalism took over everything and served us in a silver platter.
Yeah. Neoliberal capitalism is super wild. Because yes, I know words. Another assumption that people have about porn stars is that we're stupid or lazy or that this is all we can do. But actually there's
a fucking prejudice.
Yeah, no, there's lawyers and whatever. There's a lot of educated people, and actually they're really smart because they figure out a way to make their hobby their job, and now they get paid for doing what they love.
It's a prejudice, right? Mm-hmm. We, as a society, look down on everything related to sex. If you work with sex, you're not a good person. You're not fit to anything else. That's absurd. Sex is a part of life. We're born because of it. If you're religious, God created it. Animals have sex all of the time, anywhere.
Yeah, some even do it for pleasure.
It's absurd to place something that should be so natural in this wrong and dirty context.
Because humans like to think of themselves as higher beings. So such lowly desires. If you cannot control them with your human greatness, it's a bad character trait in certain places. And also depending on how you do or what you do. Because, some people fuck a lot. And depending on if it's a 50-year-old guy or a 30-year-old guy, you'll see it differently. They're doing the same thing. Most people fuck, not a lot of people. And I've come to find out that people have a lot less sex than me. I don't know how they live.
It's funny to see how things are different depending on a person's reality, right?
Yeah, dude, talked to a guy yesterday that says he hasn't had sex in 2 years. 2 years, 24 months, no sex. What the fuck?
What's common to one person is rare for another.
I know, but
it really depends on the person, right?
Yeah, however, I didn't have sex until I was of age. So I did wait a lot of time to try sex stuff. But as soon as I knew what it was, I just wanted to do a lot of it. So I went fast. And that's also judged even in the gay community. I don't really feel a sense of community, but that's just me. Yeah, they judge slutty behavior. So if you're slutty, they'll be like, oh, gross, I shouldn't date you. Yeah, okay.
But those people are on the internet searching of this type of content. So...
Oh, yeah, dude, it's so funny. I once hooked up with a guy. It's super weird. I once hooked up with a guy on a Wednesday at 3 a.m. And he was super hot, rugby type. He found out that I do porn and then he didn't want to hook up with me again. Because he doesn't...
What?
Yeah, because he doesn't want to, fuck my people. Or something.
Excuse me? I'm rolling my eyes here.
I know, he's I don't find that attractive. I don't like people have sex with other people. I'm oh, sorry, I do. And you went to a stranger's house on a Wednesday at 3 a.m. I don't think I expect too much.
Damn, people are crazy.
Yeah. People are weird about the whole porn thing. So, I no longer have a Grindr profile. Because it finally happened. I'm famous enough that people don't believe I'm me or that I'm real. So...
you need to prove that you are you.
I have... Yeah. Or apparently I'm too attractive, so I cannot be real. So they block me right away. So, oddly enough, I am having less sex now that I'm a porn actor, which is weird because I used to fuck a lot more before I was a porn actor. And it's not that I like sex less, because it's just...
I think it's funny. This dichotomy between the personal and the professional life of those who work in the sex industry. Bruno Fichinha talks about the same thing in her book. When she started to dating a guy, she wrote about it. She worked as a prostitute and had concerns about her own sex life and with her boyfriend. She worked with sex all day and still had the pressure of satisfying her boyfriend at home. How to balance it? You had sex all day and then you come home and still have your boyfriend to please?
To take care of the service. You owe some sex to your boyfriend. You don't owe sex to anyone, people, let it be known. And nobody is owed sex. However, it's just not the same type of sex. And you might be having porn, and depending how possessive people are, they some chicks don't want their gay for pay boyfriends to fuck them with a condom until they get tested. Or also, there's this thing called intimacy where two people can't just be together without fucking each other, and it's kind of nice. So, you can have that with your boyfriend and it's not sex, but it's still intimacy. So
very important point.
Personally in my life, porn hasn't changed my preferences or my drive or whatever. But sometimes at work, I'm actually having fun having sex. Sometimes it is work. And in my personal life, I don't fuck porn star looking people, have sex with regular people. And I actually like bears. And I like big guys. So, I don't want to fuck exclusively super ripped guys. I want to fuck daddies. I want to fuck, rugby players. I'm obsessed with rugby guys.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because sometimes we have... Actually, that's the next question I want to ask you.
Oh yeah, the look. Yeah.
Yeah, when we watch porn movies, you usually see only a specific type of body, white, slim, or muscular, unless it's amateur, where we have a little bit more diversity. Many people complain about the lack of representation in movies from big studios and the issues that this singular type of representation causes in persons and people's lives.
Yep.
As someone who is within the industry, how do you see this?
Oh wow, that's a lot to unpack. Okay, people, you shouldn't compare yourself to other people first. If you don't like something about yourself, take action for change. Self-consciousness and whatnot, there's a limit to your body and there's a limit to whatever. If you were born short, you're not going to be tall. You can gain like 4 inches if you extend your like leg bones, but you're not going to be a tall person. So, just accept yourself as you are, and your body's perfect. Take care of it. There's all shapes of bodies. The ones that you see in porn are there either because it's probably just the same people working in the same company, or because it sells a lot, or because the actors went on a cycle that time and they just happen to look extra great. And depending on the studios or whatever, some actors will actually be required to keep certain measures and not gain weight and whatnot. Because yes, it also happens to men.
Really?
Yeah, no, I know a guy that in his contract, like he cannot get fat. It's part of his contract. And he has to be super jacked all the time. So sometimes it's a studio decision. Some studios like choosing just a certain type of guy. And so, there's muscle bears, there's I don't think I should say the words. There's all sorts of specific stuff. Like there's pterodactyl porn, horror porn. Actually, quick shout out, horrorporn.com. Check it out. I wish they made that in gay, because the budget for straight porn, whoa, through the roof. Like they make like full feature movies with makeup and whatnot.
That's interesting.
Yeah, gay porn is mostly like, yeah, it's cool. Just fuck. Make it look hot.
Like, you have a dick, I have an ass, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and I like how like everyone's always douched and ready to go at any moment. I mean, some guys are like that. I know 2 or 3 that you can fuck them any time of the day. I won't tell you whom. But yes, like if you see him online, yes, he really is like that. Like he does like to get fucked a lot. But yeah, the self-consciousness things, like there's some people can agree in what is conventionally attractive, and people like looking at pretty things. That's what they look at. That doesn't mean that you should look like that. It doesn't mean that to have great sex, you have to be super fit, because it's not even the case. Sometimes you get tired faster if you're too muscular.
It's definitely a high intensity exercise, right?
Yeah. So it is cardio. So sometimes you sweat a lot or you run out of breath, whatever. Yeah. No, it's a thing that like I've had self-image issues myself, so I can understand. But the thing is that they are not forced on you. You decide to let them affect you or not. Yeah, like you can be short and decide that like it's the coolest thing to be short because, I don't know, it takes less fuel to keep you existing, or because concentrated is better. I don't know, whatever. Or you can tell yourself that your life is shitty because you're short. But, nobody in general, unless you have, I don't know, shitty people around you, like nobody's going to be coming to you and telling you that, oh, you suck because you're short or whatever. No, you don't have to look any different way than yourself. You don't have to be another person.
And a porn movie is a manufactured product designed to sell more, right?
It just happens to sell better because it pleases people. It might cause issues on some people, but please work on that. Do some insight. It is your choice to let things affect you or not, or to decide that that's the value that you want to give to your appearance. I personally don't even think that people should be like doing plastic surgery. Yeah, like do whatever you can achieve with exercise, maybe, and hormones, but that's about it. No more than that. I don't think you should be altering your body. But I don't want to get too far on that topic because I don't want to get canceled. Don't alter God's work.
You're beautiful in your way because God makes no mistakes.
Yeah, no, like it's a bad thing because I'm on the good side of the spectrum and I happen to look like a lot of people like jerk off to.
Yeah, exactly. We often see studios with a certain type, and sometimes I heard people saying they prefer amateurs because it feels more real.
Yeah, like there are sites that are dedicated specifically for a certain type of person, be it bears, hairy bears, muscle bears, skinny guys, tall guys, short guys, tall guys on short guys on tall guys, old on young and young, etc., etc. So there's room for everybody. However, if you don't see a particular type of person or shade of skin or country of origin or whatever random reason you pick to justify jerking off to someone, like porn is a business, and if something sells well, they're gonna make more of it. If something doesn't sell well, they're not gonna make more of it because they already wasted money on making it, and most of the time as soon as the content comes out, it's pirated. So making porn is sometimes a money pit, and it doesn't help the studios to make content that is not raising their sales and that people are not watching just to satisfy some random trolls that say or feel that they're not being represented. It sounds a little bit dickish, but it is as dry as that. If something sells well, there'll be more of it. That's why you see a lot of pretty boys with muscular bodies, because a lot of people respond well to it. That's why you don't see whatever thing that doesn't please everyone as a mainstream thing. You will definitely find videos of whatever thing you can come up with, because if you can think about it, somebody already made a video. If you can think about it, somebody already made a porn of it. So, you will find it. But if there's not a lot, it's because it might not sell a lot. There's no conspiracy. There's nobody saying like, oh, we're not going to put those people. It's really not like that. So, sorry if it hurts some sensitivities, but not everything is a conspiracy, and I'm a big fan of those. So this time I can assure you, it's just the audience that is to blame for whatever you're seeing on porn.
Yeah. Do you think that because gay men are most focused on aesthetic, both on dating apps or on the obsession with the perfect body, do you think that gay porn is more exclusive toward different body types?
Now, when it comes to gay porn, I've seen all sorts of guys. In general, they're a little bit better looking, they're a little bit more muscular, but here's the thing. When you're conventionally good looking, you're going to please more people, and you're probably going to do better in a field where appearances are a thing that counts. And I think that, I've talked about it on my Instagram and here and there when it comes to people complaining about why is there not enough whatever people on porn. And, people try to make it sound like studios are not inclusive, or websites are not inclusive, or that people are racist or whatever, or discriminate against whatever type. And here's the thing, I might sound a little bit blunt, and I try not to provide a specific case because I don't want to get canceled, but porn is a business, and it's the business of selling videos. If something pleases the market, there will be more of it made. And if it doesn't, then it will not happen. So if you don't see a particular type of people or a particular shade of skin in porn, it is because people don't watch it. Plain and simple. No more complicated than that. There's not people behind the curtain, just saying oh, we only want blonde guys, or we only want good looking white guys. No, it's because people respond to it more. It sells more. It gets more subscriptions, more sales and all that. So if ever you want to complain about why you don't see certain people on any kind of field that is entertainment, is because it doesn't sell. That's why there's not more of it made. I cannot explain it in a more simple way. And if you want to blame somebody, because sometimes studios go ahead and they go all out and they hire all the people that people say that they want to see, and then the scene or the video or whatever doesn't sell, and then they're like, oh well, I guess we won't make more of it. So the people to blame in this situation would be the viewer, not the studios, because all they're there for is to make money. They don't care about a lot of stuff. You will see people getting peed on, you will see the weirdest shit, but as long as it sells, there'll be more of it made. So I personally blame the viewers, the audience, and all those people when you don't see a certain kind of guys or women or weight or whatever on porn. Kind of sucks, but that's the reality of things.
You brought up an interesting point as well, which is us as viewers of these films, we usually don't seek out different types, and the industry wants money. So, if I don't sell a movie with a certain type, I won't produce films with that type anymore because it doesn't bring me profit. So there's a shared responsibility in this case. If we only look for movies which, endowed, muscular, white, blonde tops and bottoms with huge asses, it's like the logic of algorithms today, right? Studios will only invest in this type of movies and only hire actors who fit that profile.
Exactly.
And you, who have worked in two industries where appearance is extremely important, do you think that the porn industry embrace you more because of your body than the fashion industry?
I guess in my case, I was turned down in modeling a lot because I was too large as a person. And when I tried porn, they took me in right away. And then they just kept giving me work. So I was like, oh, cool. I reckon that I am conventionally good looking, but also I don't feel that I'm the type of good looking that is usually on porn. So I guess that's why I don't sell as much as other guys. But, it's not my fault that I don't please everyone. That's on the viewer themselves. And I have nothing against it. It's just the way people are, the way things are. See if a product is, as an entertainer, you are sort of a product. Some products please more people and some products please a selected few. I'm really happy with my selected few and I wouldn't want things to be different. And, if my looks change, I guess I will adapt to whatever happens. But, I don't like to blame the industry for not providing an extensive array of body types and skin colors and origins and cultures. Sometimes companies just respond to the market, and some companies have their own thing. There are sites that are exclusively feet, and you will see all sorts of guys, but they have beautiful feet. Some sites you will see nothing but old ladies. On some sites, you will see nothing but hairy fat guys. On some sites, you will see nothing but big dicks. On some, you will see nothing but pretty boys. On some, you will see nothing but ugly boys. On some, you might find guys dressed as pterodactyls and fucking a chick. For real, there is something for everyone. And I feel it responds to the market. I hope I made sense with my answer.
That made a lot of sense. Actually, it's something more complex, right? We need to change as a society that prioritizes certain types, and that will eventually reflect in the porn industry. It seems like a simple thing, but it's quite complex.
The reason why you don't see a lot of something is because not a lot of people like it, or because you're not searching the right way. Because if you can come up with it, there is porn made about it. Whatever you can come up with, there is porn that is already made about it. Is it mainstream? Probably not. Not everybody watches pterodactyl porn, but it's there. I don't know what other weird sites have I seen. Well, there's horror porn where they have really weird shit.
I can imagine.
I would like to be on a film like that. There's shout out to the Say Uncle Network. They actually have an assorted selection of types of guys. They have Say Uncle, Yes Father, the Scout, Boy Scouts, something like that. Mormon boys. They have Latin Leche. So yes, everyone's there. Then I don't think they do black, but there's a lot of black sites of exclusively black. There might be some horrible stereotyping done, but people jerk off to that.
Or pterodactyl porn, or serial killer porn, or rape fantasy porn, or, gangbangs in the weirdest of settings, and so and so and so. And, it is made because there's a niche for it, but, I wonder who comes up with these things.
Right?
But, if, let's say, if you see an actor and then you don't see them, it might be because it didn't go well for them, or they didn't get hired again, or they had a shitty experience or whatever. Or, if things don't get made more, it's because nobody's buying them. So if you're going to complain about why don't you see this or that on porn, because you guys don't watch it.
Makes sense. It's a business. It must sell, right?
Watch it more and we'll make a lot of it. Why is there so much incest porn made? Because, I would like to know. Because in the early 2000s, what was the most searched type of porn was interracial, which was black on blonde. Is, I mean, if you have, let's say, an Italian and a ginger, technically it's interracial, but you cannot tag someone like that. Or if you have an Arab and a ginger, I happen to be fond of gingers. Shout out.
Yeah, gingers aren't common in the world of porn. I think I saw one actor in a scene with Johnny Rapid once.
Yeah, I find it so interesting, like genetically and color-wise. Like, oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to see more ginger porn, but whenever I talk about it, people are like, ew, oh, you jerks. There's not a lot of gingers in porn.
Yeah, I agree with you. If there were more, maybe we wouldn't have to answer stupid questions. And in most of these movies I've seen with gingers, they are bottoms. I hardly see gingers as tops.
Wow, that is... Well, I mean, like Judas, and then who else? I mean, you guys have done some shit. You know, you cannot make butter when you guys are around, so it goes bad. Yeah, I know. You devilish people. No, actually, because like the Brits and stuff, they say that gingers have no soul, or that it's unfortunate to be a ginger or whatever. They're ugly in every color, so it's not a trait that is particular to gingers if they're ugly. But like, there are a lot of really hot gingers. And I wish there was more porn made of it. Like, imagine, what's the name of that rugby player that I love? There's like this big ass ginger. I'm not gonna remember.
I don't know.
I would totally watch like some Viking porn with a big ass ginger with a gigantic dick, like just plowing. I don't know. A blonde guy, just to keep it realistic historically.
Yeah, and let me ask you, how do you see Rocky Vallarta in the future? What do you see yourself doing in the future, besides coming to Brazil, of course?
Yeah, I want to work in movies, so if you are a director or a producer, drop me a line, slide in my DMs. I'm very professional. And I would like to maybe help promote making stuff locally by leading with the example. I make some of my clothes, so I think we should be doing more for stuff and making stuff that lasts longer, because we cannot just be consuming all the time. So, I mean, I would like to do that. Ideally, I would like to be the spokesperson for the Canadian Fur Council, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. Because fur is green and is a really good choice when it comes to keeping yourself warm in harsh winters like the ones here. Just saying. It's biodegradable, renewable, and natural. So, yay for meat and fur. I'm going to get so canceled. Yeah, I mean, I like natural products, and I think that we've gone backwards a little bit culturally. So I would like to remind people that either teach them some stuff, because there's not enough information about how to make clothes yourself. They're always trying to sell it to you, and like, just give away the information. I think knowledge should be given away. So maybe I'll make a new Wikipedia that isn't captured by the CIA. I would like to do acting. Honestly, I would like to cross over to movies, but the universe will take me where it has to take me. So I'll just go with the flow.
We can see that sex is more accessible on the internet. In the past, there was more professionally produced content with actors and all that. But now, people are having more sex and selling themselves online. Do you think we are having fewer taboos about sex, and that's why more people feel comfortable for having sex in front of a camera?
Oh, okay. To be honest, in my personal opinion, I don't think we have changed that much mindset-wise when it comes to exposing oneself online and being ashamed about it. I think people remain just as uptight about nudity and about sharing nudes or making videos or whatever. And if anything, maybe they're even more uptight now because of revenge porn and whatnot. So according to me, but I don't know. I only live in my own situation, so I wouldn't know for other people. But I still hang out with regular people, and they don't, media-wise, they don't seem to have changed that much. Now, when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to sex, I do believe that some people, not all, some people have become a little bit more open-minded and more willing to try things than back in the day. Like, I had, encounters with straight guys that just want to try it this one time, that wouldn't have happened before. So, when it comes to actual sex without the cameras, I do believe that some people are starting to relax a little bit more. I don't feel that people have changed that much media-wise. Now, I do feel that the reason why it seems like we're opening up that much is because the internet has reached a lot more people. So a lot more people are able to let their freak flag fly freely online. And now we are able to see it because 20, 30 years ago, 20, let's not go that far. 20, 25 years ago, they wouldn't have such an easy access to internet services. And also platforms have changed. So, yes, there's OnlyFans, there's Just for Fans and all those fan pages, which have added themselves to the porn landscape. But the people that were showing off, they were showing off on MySpace already when that was a thing. And they were showing off on Facebook until Facebook decided to put filters and AI to keep them from doing it. So I don't think there's more slutty people than before. We're just able to see them more easily now, and they are more able to make money off of it than back in the day, which is great. I would really love people to change their mindset when it comes to sex work. I think it's still taboo. I think it's still, it's not necessarily a religious thing or a cultural thing. It's just, I don't even know where it comes from because I don't have that kind of judgments, but I do suffer from it. Like, people do look down on sex workers, or they think that it is the easy way when it's not. It's actually a lot of hard work. And people also still find, I had to quit my job because they were low-key trying to get rid of me because I was doing porn. So it's definitely still happening. And this was in Canada. So, imagine in a more Catholic, more religious country, that would probably be way worse.
Yeah, just like Brazil.
Yeah, to answer your question, I don't think we have changed that much. We're opening up a little bit, but not that much.
I agree with you. A few years ago, when Bruna Surfishinha released her book called in English The Scorpion Sweet Venom, I think I just mentioned the title without explaining who she was. She was a prostitute who wrote a book about her experience and became a huge success here in Brazil. She started being invited to TV shows, and there was even a movie based on her book. I found it interesting to see how in an extremely religious country like Brazil, the phenomenon of Bruna Surfishinha emerged. And then a few years later, the country embraced this conservative Christian madness, which led to the election of this fucking Bolsonaro president, who won with a conservative discourse and all that. It's interesting to me how often these people who reject and condemn sex workers are so hypocritical because they consume this type of content. Like Brazil consumes a lot of transgender pornography, and it's the country with the largest rates of transgender murder due to transphobia. So it's sexually a matter within the porn industry as well.
I think, I know that people are sore that they didn't get the part and that they think that they are more fit to do a certain role or whatever, but if you didn't get it, you didn't get it. And if you knew the way things are made, you will understand that it doesn't come down to such insignificant details as sexual orientation. And when you're acting, the most interesting part of acting is being able to make people think that you are someone that you're not. So I think pretending or actually having sex with someone that you're actually not attracted to and looking like you do is quite a high level of acting. So I highly respect that, and I think people should get off the back of actors, especially the straight ones that are in gay porn, because I really love them. They're lovely. Shout out to all my brothers. And now about your question, I think we should get rid of the shame. I think we should just stop treating sex as a topic that you only discuss with certain people under certain circumstances. I think it should be an open topic that people talk about anywhere, anytime, with anyone, not necessarily disregarding the age, because I would like to keep the children innocent, but I would also like everybody to be able to name body parts the proper way, so that if something happens to someone, they're able to know what was going on and point it out and tell it to people and know when it is appropriate and not. That's one of the things that, a lot of sexual assault happens because either people don't know and it goes unreported because people don't know or because people are ashamed of the act or the situation or whatever. We need to stop thinking that sex is dirty. We need to stop treating it as something disgusting. Everybody does it, or at least most people do. And if we did that, and if we were open about it, all of us would have a better time. People wouldn't have to numb themselves with alcohol to be able to perform certain tasks, or people would be able to express what actually turns them on, because everybody's sexual experience or first sexual experiences or the wiring in the brain that leads people to arousal is different on every person. So you have to be able to express what turns you on without being shamed, as long as it's legal and as long as you're not hurting anyone and as long as it is consensual. Those are the main rules for me. But other than that, go ahead. If you only come watching a clown on a motorcycle while somebody's, stepping on your balls, go for it. You shouldn't be judged for it. And you should be able to tell people hey, can you step on my balls? And someone can tell you yes or no. And that's it. But we just really got to stop shaming people for having sex, for having sexual thoughts. And people need to also overcome their own shame or feeling embarrassed about feeling a certain way in certain situations. That might resonate more with gay people than with straight people, but straight people are freaky too. So, that is the thing that I think would help everybody enjoy their bodies better. It would probably kill the business of porn because the sort of hush-hush way that we treat sex is what keeps the price high. But the world would be a better place, so I wouldn't mind it.
Yes.
Now, there's one thing that I want to give credit for to religion, and that is creating the sense that sex is something that needs to be hidden because that raises the value of the product that I make. And I know it's a really, really dickish thing to say, but if everybody was shameless and everybody talked about sex, I probably wouldn't have the job I have. So, I gotta reckon that censorship does create the crave for the product. Just wanted to throw that out there because I like being honest.
Yeah, but you brought a point that I wasn't expecting. I think it's very important for us to include sexual education in this discuss. It's important for people to be aware of what happens to their bodies, especially children. We heard so many stories, especially here in this podcast, from gay men who recount situations that happened when they were children. They didn't have the means to defend themselves, and many still deal with the effects of it today. The fear and shame of being judged and not being able to talk to anyone out of fear of being singled out. And it's even worse when we have a religion border that places blame on sex, which somehow serves to cover up of acts that we know are wrong. But many people take advantage of it to commit crimes, And when it comes to the queer community, there's an even worse issue. We are always sexualized, even as children. So much so that often the excuse people use to abuse us. This is what you like, so take it. Or they want to fix us through violence. And that makes me so angry. And Brazil went through this recent situation where the ex-president campaign is based on we need to protect children from these gays, or the fear that talking about sex would make children have sex in schools, things that makes any sense. I can only imagine what it's like for someone like you who actually faced the consequences in a job like yours.
Oh, wow. There's a lot to unpack on that one. First, I'm actually not even surprised that in a Catholic country where sex and pleasure and all that stuff are regarded as sin, when something related to one of these taboo topics comes up, it's going to be all over the place and it's going to be in everybody's mouth because they've been craving to talk about it. And it's great because the conversations need to happen and people need to be exposed to the reality of things. I think they should be exposed to all of the realities of it because sometimes certain stories make it seem like it's horrible. And in my personal experience, doing porn and working in sex or being a sex worker has been a really fulfilling and extremely neat and healthy experience. But I understand that from other people's perspective, now this leads to the rest of your question. From other people's perspective, you don't know what's going on, and you only know what you're told, and you only know what you infer from pop culture or from references here and there, or from some bad documentary forever ago that they saw on streaming. And I mean, for some people, the experience was bad because they bumped into bad people. But on my end and on the and with the guys that I know, it's been generally a good experience. Now, it is not easy to explain to people what I do for work. So depending on the situation or depending how much I want to talk about it, I will just say that I work in advertisement, which is true because I do have a day job, or I will say that I'm an adult entertainer. If they get into more details or whatever, then yes. The thing is that I try, depending on the age of the people, if it's really old people, I rather not mention it because I don't know how they are. Some religious people are really uptight, like they just have an askew vision of what sex workers do, and I don't have time for that crap. I'm not here to explain the world to people. But for younger people, they're actually really interested in how it's made, and they're surprised to learn that it's a really proper job and that it is harder than they thought. Because it's not, you don't just show up, fuck, and get paid. Like, you actually have to pose, and you have to do the script and all that stuff. Now, so far, I don't feel, or if it happened, I didn't notice because I'm really hard to offend. I don't think I've been offended or that somebody has been mean to me because I'm a porn actor, except for that job that I had to quit. So I wouldn't be able to tell you what the situation would be. But, if ever somebody complains, in a theoretical situation, let's say, if somebody says that my job is bad or whatever, or that I'm promoting horrible things or horrible standards, or that I'm reenacting crimes or whatever, I like to believe that I sort of channel people's fantasies so that they don't have to act on them, or for people to digest or process or take ownership or empower themselves after a situation that was not as romantic as the ones that I portray on my scenes. As far as image issues or whatever, I take zero responsibility for that. That's one's own work to do. And what else? What else was in the question?
Yeah, I think that was it. You answered it. Well, as I hope it's becoming clear to this episode, being a porn actor is a profession, and like any profession, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, so to speak. In your view, if someone enjoys having sex, does that automatically makes them a good porn actor or actress? What do you think a person needs to have in order to succeed in this profession?
Oh, wow. Another heavy question. I don't know. I guess you do have to like sex, but you also have to be able to have sex in front of people. Also to be able to focus on sex while you're being interrupted with random stuff like lighting and sound or angles or whatever. Also, being good at sex or liking sex doesn't mean that what you do is going to look good on camera. So you might have to adapt to that, and it's not going to be as fun or as pleasant as you would expect it to be. Because, like I said before, what looks good on camera doesn't necessarily feel good, and what feels good doesn't necessarily look good on camera. So, you gotta be able to balance that. What else? You also have to be a responsible person because, if you don't show up on time, if you don't do the work, if you don't perform and all that stuff, you're probably not gonna get more work. Then, if you want to do porn, you sort of are your own company. So it's up to you to stay in good health, stay in shape. It sounds awful, but the truth is that better looking people sell better. So, if unless you have a really niche market, there might be some competition, there might be some unfairness, there might be some things that you would consider completely unbalanced and unfair, and you'll have to be able to accept them because, it's not all about sex. There's also the viewers, there's also the audience. They react different to certain things. Sometimes you're expected to behave a certain way, even though a lot of people look down on porn actors, which is it's an interesting combination. What else? You also have to have a really thick skin because people online can be really, really mean. So, if you feel bad as soon as somebody calls you fat or skinny, if you don't want to be skinny, or if somebody tells you that your dick is too small or that your skin is ugly or that whatever, you have to be able to filter that and not let it get to you because people say the most horrible things randomly to strangers online and without consequences and anonymously. So, you have to be able to handle that. Now, if you become more famous, that's going to be even harder. So you have to, keep your head level and your feet on the ground to be able to do the work. Also, you sort of got to be able to come on command because, you are asked to, some people fake it. I'm not going to say when or where, but you can see it on the video when it happens. For some reason, you are asked, like allegedly users or viewers asked to see people coming. I personally don't mind. So, if you are asked to come, you have to be able to come. I know that it can get hard when, the more you are asked to do something, the harder it is to do it seamlessly. So you have to manage to, get to your own space and shoot your load, which can be hard if, if the director is tired or there's a deadline on the time, or if the space that you're renting, you have to get out at a certain time and you still have to come, or, that kind of stuff. You have to do all of this while also looking good on camera. So, it's a few things to handle, but it does give you freedom. So whatever, it's up to you. Also, unless you are the hottest of the hot, incredibly, amazingly, unbelievably hot, and even then it might be hard if you're too far away, or if you don't have the right paperwork to be able to travel. Most studios will not bother paying for your expenses and flying you over to where they are, so they might ask you to drop them a line when you're in town and stuff like that, because porn is not made everywhere, sadly, or gladly, who knows. And when I was younger, I tried to apply for porn sites, and most of the time they would tell me no, and a couple times they told me, yes, but you're going to have to come here, which made it a lot harder because, if you want to make money, it's kind of hard to spend money to make money, but, it's a situation that might happen.
Yeah, the issue of hate on the internet is complicated. I admit that I haven't experienced it yet here in Fora, Meio, but I'm preparing myself in case it even happens. Hopefully, it will still be a while, but who knows? People are crazy.
But yeah, let's say, if I'm at a party or dinner and it's only young people or people my age, I call myself young also. I'm almost 40, but I'm a kid. It tends to monopolize the conversation, so do not take all the attention or to make the whole conversation about me at a party. I just keep it low key. If anybody says that I look like a certain someone, I will ask before saying what or why. Because, I love my job and it is great. I recommend it to anybody who is in the same situation that I was when I decided to do it. But it gets a little bit exhausting having to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and explain to people that you're not being trafficked, that you're not being drugged to have sex on scenes, that people get tested for the shoots, and that there's record of everything. Everybody's a grown up. Everybody's has consented to doing everything. People don't think that those things happen, but they do. And it's a very technical part of the process, but it's like, wow, do I really want to talk about it? But definitely, if you like sex, if you just have to fuck all day, every day, and if you got a raging hard on all the time and you want to show it to everyone, it might be the job for you. I thought I was a sex addicted person until I started working in porn and I met some of my fellow actors who for real are horny really 24/7, and they can fuck nonstop and come nonstop, and I'm glad that porn found them. I actually feel pretty tame compared to certain people I know. So there's that. And also another thing that's important is it's not really a big it makes a lot of money. I don't know how the calculations are made though, because it sounds like a lot more than what I would think. But it is a small, how do you say it? Also, it's a small circle. It's sort of it's not a big, it's a profitable industry, but it's not a big industry. So everybody sort of knows everybody. So personal advice, be nice, behave, be disciplined, be polite, and don't be shady, be respectful. And, like any other professional setting, be as good as you can and as nice as you can, and try to do your best work, because if you fuck up, you might end up not getting work ever again, but your videos will still be online. So, it would suck to go and do one video and then, I don't know, have a mishap or be rude rude to the wrong person, and then you will never work again. And then it might be hard for you to find another job elsewhere because, you did porn. Because as we were talking earlier, sometimes people, they don't think highly of the people that do porn and they don't want to hire them or whatever. So, that can happen. So keep that in mind. Also, if you're too young, if you want to start doing porn like fresh out of 18, you might make a lot of money. You might do a lot of stuff, but it might also be a lot to handle. So you gotta be well grounded in order to do things. Because I don't know. I mean, that's what I think, seeing other people that are younger than me. I started when I was 34, I think. So it's completely different from me. But yeah, I guess that's what I can say. Like, if you want to do it. Just think about it before you do, and think about it properly, and think about the pros and cons and all that stuff, and think long term, not just short term. It is likely that people will solicit you or treat you like you're an escort when you're just acting, stuff like that. I don't know what other advice I can give, but that's in my personal experience, it's all been great. So I wouldn't tell anybody not to do it, but think about it a lot before you do the jump.
Oh yeah, people always have this idea that you'll make lots of money, right? Sometimes it's good for people to realize that they won't necessarily get rich just by doing porn. But let me ask you another question. We talked earlier about sexuality in the industry, and I remember a few years ago, there was a discussion between a Brazilian actor Diego Sanz and John Rapid, who is a straight man doing gay porn, about the gay for pay issue. It's when a straight man has sex with another guy just because gay movies pay more. Some actors even have homophobic views, but still end up doing movies as bottoms. Rocky, what do you take on that? Do you think straight actors in gay porn are kind of taking roles away from actors who are actually gays?
The gay for pay, my favorite part of my job. How can I explain this? Okay, so normally if you're a homosexual man, you probably grew up believing that being yourself was wrong. So it is normal to idealize straight guys or to desire to be them. And some gay people have a fetish for having sex with straight guys. That is completely normal. It's completely respectable. I am one of those people. And actually, a couple of my best friends are actually gay for pay actors. And for some reason, people also think that I'm gay for pay. I'm gay as fuck, but apparently I act a little bit too straight. So I get a little bit of that same hate. Now, I don't understand the logic, because according to the gays that complain about it, they say that they're stealing money from the gays or taking jobs from the gays. I really don't understand how. I didn't know that there was such a thing as gay money and straight money. And if it's your money, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. So now I assume those guys make a lot more money because of the unattainability that being straight gives them. And here's the reality of the situation. The reason why guys and really hot guys with huge cocks end up doing gay porn is because, like I told you before, in straight porn, the viewer doesn't want to see guys that are too intimidating for him or that he cannot identify with. So all those handsome guys with beautiful muscles and huge cocks do not get work in straight porn, and if they do, it is not as well paid. So it happens to them that it is offered to work in gay porn. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it already, but there is a product that you can inject on your dick to make it hard. So if anybody's out there to say, oh, they really enjoy it, like how do you get hard? Even the erection is fake, so calm down. Now, it might be the case that some of those guys are actually bisexual, but both sides, the straight and the gay, are really hateful towards the bisexual. They think that they haven't made up their mind or that they can cheat twice as much. Bisexual people are real. Sexual preferences are sort of a spectrum, so there's everything under the sun. I really don't get the hate, though. I really don't understand why people go and, they will comment like, oh, fake gay, or you're stealing money from the gays, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a fact. It's funny how people judge those who work in the sex industry, but often they are the ones filled with prejudice, right?
Like, for real, I don't understand where the motivation comes from. Because, I mean, if you think that somebody is not being awarded the recognition that they deserve, why don't you go ahead and give it to them instead of just giving hate to the straight people? It is true that they make more money, but once again, it is because the audience idealizes these guys, and that unattainability factor really gets them off. And that's okay. I got nothing against it, but it is just so disrespectful when people go and, they insult the straights because, oh my God, they put their dicks in a pussy. Oh, wow, they're horrible. Or they're lying about being straight and that they cannot possibly have sex with guys and be straight. And I can assure you, man, I've had sex with these guys, a lot of gay for pay, and some are bisexual sometimes. Some are there for the money, like for real, just for the money. Like I've never seen, I've been fucked by them, and I've never seen a more straight guy in my life. But it is really mean. Chicks are mean to them because if they do gay porn, they treat them like they're filthy. They only want to have sex with them if they get tested because they had sex with gay guys, or they will refuse to date them because they're having sex with men, and God knows what's up. And gay people also insult them, and they say demeaning things to them because according to them, they're stealing the job from another gay guy. If you feel your job is being stolen by a straight guy, there's nobody stopping you from doing porn. Go ahead and do it. Don't try to advocate for people that aren't even asking for it. I personally love it. I enjoy getting paid for having sex with guys that I would never have sex with were the situation different. So they have a really soft spot in my heart. And actually, I've always had a great time with my gay for pay coworkers. Shout out to all of them. You know who you are if you're listening. And I don't understand the hate. I usually reply to those people, but sometimes I get so impatient because they cannot fathom that somebody can love money so much that they will fuck somebody that they're not attracted to.
Well, Rocky, I follow you on Instagram, and sometimes you share messages there that you receive, and some of them are pretty harsh, disrespectful, attacking you because of your profession. How do you deal with that?
I actually have a little bit of body dysmorphia, so I kind of tune out all feedback, whether it's negative or positive, because I don't think that highly of myself, but I also don't think that lowly of myself. So, it doesn't really do anything to me, except when we're talking about some political views or some ethical or moral issues. Then I might engage with the haters a little bit. I mean, I am pretty self-assured in that I am a well-educated and well-informed person. So whenever somebody treats me as if I were stupid or saying demeaning comments like stick to porn or now porn actors and scientists, I actually kind of have fun with that kind of people because it shows that they think that they are better than other people. And it just sifts through their comments. So sometimes I like to take a screenshot and post it online so that everybody sees, and tag them so that they know that they're being, that their messages are being shown. Because people say mean shit online. And I don't think that, if you're talking to a stranger, you don't just approach them with some nasty comment, you say, hi, why do you think this? What's your experience? Normally you would have a proper conversation. Sometimes I do have a conversation with them. Sometimes they block me right away. Sometimes they're just trying to dump their hate on you, and it is really not worth your time, so I just block them. It depends on the day, it depends on what's being said or what they're talking about. Sometimes people say mean comments, and then I talk to them, and then they apologize, and then they'll be like, actually, I was just being a jerk. That happens. I've been on the internet since I was a kid. I've seen everything come and go. I've seen, regulations being set and moderation, all that kind of stuff happen. Right now, Twitter is really, really good at filtering hateful content. So you don't really get to see those that easily, which is great because, it can mess up your day.
Yeah, there are people who seems to spend their day being assholes to someone else on the internet for no reason.
So, it depends. Sometimes I have the patience to talk to people because, if they're attacking me because they think my opinion is misguided, I will talk to them and ask them why, what they think, or where do they get their information from, and so on. And I might engage in a proper conversation. Sometimes I will flat out ignore them. It depends. Like, I try not to let it affect me. And I know when I'm right. I know when I'm wrong. I don't have trouble accepting when I'm wrong and admitting it publicly. So, I don't close myself to interactions. I just like people to be polite, believe it or not. I try to be understanding. Usually if people are mean to you, it's because they have something going on or because something that you said rubbed them the wrong way. So they might just unload it on you because you're a stranger online. That is not nice, but it comes with, being sort of a public figure or posting news of yourself online. Like, you're going to get some shit. You just got to be able to not take it personally because then it might become a problem for you. I also like to take breaks from social media from time to time or during the day just to remember that the internet is not all there is and that sometimes the internet makes reality seem a little worse than it actually is. So, I don't sweat it, but, sometimes I handle it with humor. Sometimes I'm a bit of a dick. Sometimes I'm really understanding. It honestly depends on the day.
Well said. I think that's a good way to deal with this kind of people.
Thank you.
Because in my opinion, if someone is willing to go and insult you without even knowing you, they must have very little dishes to wash at home. But anyway, Rocky, we are reaching the end of this episode. Before we wrap up, is there any message you would like to leave for the folks here in Brazil?
To the people in Brazil, I don't know. What could I say? Thank you so much for your support. What do people say in Brazil? So on the sound. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting your podcast. And please watch my porn.
We say obrigado.
Obrigado. Obrigado.
You're talking just like a Brazilian.
Thank you. Obrigado por me acompanhar. E ouvir esse episódio. Me acompanhem nas redes sociais. Vallarta Rocky on SoundCloud if you want to listen to my podcast that I never update, but it's sexy to listen to. E por favor, assista meus vídeos.
That's great. You can already come to Brazil without any language problems.
Yay. Sweet. My pleasure, man. Thank you for inviting me. I've been around the Brazilians.
In the dive in recommendation segment of this podcast, I want to give you a tip if you want to learn more about the porn industry. The series Nacho, which is a Spanish series that tells the story of Nacho Vidal, a porn actor who has a huge advantage. The series is really good and worth watching. Rocky, what recommendation do you have for my listeners?
Piece of advice, believe in yourself. And if I want to recommend you to read a book, that book would be 1984 by George Orwell, if I'm not mistaken. I know the name. It is one of my favorite books, but it is so good and it explains the world so well that reality is going to make better sense for you if you read it. If I were to recommend you just one, if not, read as many as you can. Put your phone down and read something wholesome. You're going to learn a lot more and talk to people.
All right, Rocky, please let your social networks.
Now, you can find me on almost all the socials as Rocky Vallarta. That is ROCKY as in Victor, ALLARTA on Twitter, Instagram, Getter, TikTok, OnlyFans, Just for Fans, Rafa Club. You can also find me, if you Google me, you can find me on IMDb and you might find me on SoundCloud. But if not, in most of my profiles, there is a link tree where you can find all my links and you can see me in press appearances, on podcasts, and a lot of other places that you might not imagine. Thank you so much.
It's great to have you here. I really want to thank you for being so friendly and approachable with my invitation. And I'm going to be on a podcast here in Brazil. I hope you will come here soon. And I'm speechless to thank your kindness with me and this project.
Thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. I was more than glad to do it. I hope it came out great. And thank you so much for your patience and for your openness to my ideas and all that. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
And you, listener, discover more about Fora do Meio on our Instagram, who is Fora do Meio Podcast, and send me an email at foradomeio@gmail.com. Tell me what you think about this episode, making suggestions, or just for chatting. I'd like to thank you so much for you listening out of Brazil, for hearing me. I hope you enjoyed, and that's it. See you soon.
Beijos. Thank you. Chat soon.
Goodbye.